Hello everyone, welcome back to Rolling Solo. My name is Adam Smith, and in this unboxing video, we're going to be taking a look at Imperial Assault Tyrants of Lothal, and I'm really excited to check this out because it's been a long time on the channel since we've dived into anything to do with Imperial Assault, but quite some time ago, I put together a full showcase showing how the app takes control of the Empire against you in a campaign type setting. So it's really interesting from a solo perspective and definitely one worth checking out. But this expansion right here is the most recent big box expansion for Star Wars Imperial Assault, even though it wasn't recently released. This was actually released quite some time ago, but I haven't gotten around to unboxing it myself, and I'm really excited to see what's inside. So if you'll join me, we'll flip this box over on the back, take a look at what this expansion has in store for us, and then we'll check out the components inside. The Empire tightens its grip on Lothal. In the early days of the rebellion, Grand Admiral Thrawn plots to crush all who resist Imperial tyranny before they can become a greater threat. But the fires of resistance are already burning, and new heroes rise to join the struggle for freedom. Join the fight for the freedom of Lothal with Tyrants of Lothal, a new expansion for Imperial Assault. 6 new missions take the battle to Lothal and beyond as a self-contained mini-campaign or as a side missions to expand a full-length campaign. 2 new heroes join the fight alongside the daring crew of the Ghost, but they'll have to face the treacherous Hondo and the Empire's most brilliant strategist, Grand Admiral Thrawn. Bolster your Imperial Assault skirmish forces with new command cards, missions, and figures. From feisty Lothcats to formidable death troopers, the future of the young rebellion depends on you. When you first open up the box, this is what you're going to see: an advertisement winter catalog for Fantasy Flight Games. Again, this one is quite dated, 2017, as you can see here. Again, this expansion is not brand new, but it is brand new to me. And we'll take a look now through the rulebook here to take a look and see how many pages this thing comprises itself of. On the very back, we have the campaign log broken out, the Empire and the Rebels. And in terms of the number of pages that this book is comprised of, we're looking at about 26 pages in length in order to get all of the material read. Now, you're not going to need all of this to actually start playing. And again, remember that solo app is only going to take into account certain expansions that come into Imperial Assault. So you'll want to check that app out to ensure that this particular product can actually be merged into that app. That's something I'll be doing very soon. But the prior unboxings I've done for Imperial Assault, a majority of those expansions have been merged into that app at this point, and there's not campaigns specific to every expansion yet, but they continue to kind of release either maps or playmats that involve co-op or solo playable scenarios, as well as the odd campaign. I really hope that support continues going forward because they are fantastic. Now, taking a look at the inside of the rulebook here, we got the component list as to what you can expect to find inside this box. We'll see that very soon. Inside this expansion, before you play here, the expansion icon specific to the expansion, like Fantasy Flight always does. And this just gives you a rough idea as to what the rulebook looks like in its structure. If you're familiar with anything from Fantasy Flight, it follows a similar flow, especially if you've played anything Imperial Assault before. So you won't have any problems getting through this rulebook. They're typically laid out quite nicely, and then you move into the actual campaign. So in order to avoid any spoilers of that, I will stop right there. The next sheet you're going to find inside the box is a skirmish map sheet. Now, these are skirmish maps that you can also find in those mini packs of the characters as well. So you've got one right here, and you could set this up in order to have a skirmish at this particular location. And if you flip it over to the other side, it talks about the Heart of the Empire expansion. Next up inside the box, you're going to find 24 ID stickers. So you can see those stickers right here. And this is very familiar territory for anyone that's played Imperial Assault before. Now we get into the 3 punch boards that come inside the box. I'll show you both sides so you can see not only the tiles you'll be exploring and moving around, but also the tokens on these boards. So this is the first side of the first punch board. Here's the second side, totally different terrain on the opposite side. Most things over here are duplicated on both sides in terms of the tokens. Second punch board here has some more indoor type terrain as well as one outdoor there on the side. On the back side of this one, totally different looking stuff right here. Looking pretty good though. Always a fan of the art and style of these particular pieces of terrain. I also like the fact they're not overly large, so you can usually fit a lot of these on the table quite easily in terms of the scenarios and missions you go through. And here we've also got some of the major characters you'll be going through during the missions. Again, some of these will be replaced by miniatures if you so choose to pick them up in those, and you're in separate packs. And then we've got the opposite side worth of terrain on the back. That is going to do it for the punch boards. Here's an up-close view of the two new heroes that come inside of this particular expansion. So you can check out the detail there. I'll go ahead and flip them over to the opposite side so you can see them on the back as well. Again, I like the poses of these guys. They look pretty good. Next up, we got 4 Death Troopers inside the box. They all have the exact same pose, but they look really, really nice. I like them a lot. Would be a lot of fun to paint these ones too. And finally, the last miniatures inside the box are Loth Cats. And you can see there's a number of them on each of the bases here. There's 4 of them. They are identical in terms of their sculpts, I believe. I don't think there's any differences between them. But it does look like we've got some creatures inside the game here, and these are the creatures involved in this expansion. Now let's take a close-up look at the player boards for the 2 new miniature heroes that are inside of this box. So we got CT-1701, Barrage, Focus Fire, 12 health, 4 endurance, 4 speed, and you got all the die here mentioned for each of the attributes. Flipping over to the other side of this character, you can see the backside. Feel free to pause if you want to read anything there. Second character involved is Tress, and leg hydraulics in there. She's got some interesting styles. She's a cybernetic brawler, 11 health, 4 endurance, 4 speed, all the dice mentioned there. Flipping it over to the back side as well. Now let's go ahead and check out the standard size cards that come inside the game. You can see the artwork on the back of these cards is gorgeous, always has been. And I'll just flip through these so you can see what types of cards are in here. If you're very used to Imperial Assault, then of course, or Star Wars in general, obviously, then you're going to understand exactly what these factions are and who these are. And if you don't, you need to watch the Star Wars movies. So I'm going to go ahead now and flip these over. We'll take a look at them one by one. Again, some of these I'm going to flip through fairly quickly. I think these ones right here I will, because most of them are comprised of a lot of text. So there's not too much to say here. And again, this is talking more so about the, we can see up here in the top right, weapons division. So I'm just going to kind of move through these cards at a relatively quick pace because they're mainly text. If you want to pause the screen to read them, feel free to do so. Death Trooper is the very first one up here. So you can see the attributes along the bottom, and you can see the actual abilities within the card itself. I'll try my best to avoid my thumb being in the way while we go through these. Couple actually quite a few Death Trooper cards there for the individuals that showed up inside the box for the miniatures, of course. Thrawn here, a 9 on the health side of things. The Loth Cats. Hondo. Look at that, that's pretty awesome. Again, the artwork on these cards very different than what Fantasy Flight does nowadays, where they have more of a focus on the artwork, more so than. But inside of Imperial Assault, because of the amount of rules there are inside of the game, in most cases there's quite a bit of text actually inside the abilities area for these characters. So in most cases, they need this much space to be able to detail out the special abilities and things that are going on with these characters. So the art does kind of take a backstage, but the nice thing is it is fantastic regardless, whether it's on the front or back. So hopefully I'm not blocking the health there on all these cards. There's Tress, Spectre Call, Call to Action, the Sands, Siege, the Race. That's pretty awesome looking art right there. Final Order. And then here on the other side, we got Blitz and Fluctuation. So that's going to do it for the standard size cards that come inside the box. And the final thing to go through is the mini cards. So we got Spinning Kick. You can see who these are actually associated with. So Tress in this case, Wildfire, Marked Territory, and you can see those changed, right? So you can focus on those little small points on the mini cards in order to figure out who they're for. Some of these are like creatures, for instance, like Pact Alpha, Signal Jammer. We got Weakened here, a couple weakened, harmful conditions. Blaster here, Reload, Covering Fire, Strafing Run, Pin Them Down, Squad Tactics, Weakness Identified, Concentrated Fire, Wildfire. That's a pretty awesome card. Reinforced Cyber Arm. Strike card. Variation card. Sweep. Throw. Counter. Another variation. Dragon Fury. Fluidity. Commence Landing. Redouble our efforts. Personal Flagship. Thailander. So many cards to go through in this box. And that's really, I mean, to say it honestly, Imperial Assault, if you have all the expansions, there is quite a bit here because every single, even the character packs just really add all kinds to the game, including more skirmish maps and everything else. Of course, the skirmish stuff isn't solo playable, but what they've done with the app is phenomenal. I really love what they've done with the campaign and the app, and I had a lot of fun doing that showcase on the channel. So again, as I mentioned earlier on the video, if you haven't checked out that showcase, you definitely need to, because if you're a Star Wars fan, or you're a fan of just good board games in general, you're going to love Imperial Assault in a solo capacity. And that's going to conclude the unboxing for a Star Wars Imperial Assault expansion. I really hope this helps you make an informed decision as to whether or not this is something you would like to pick up. Thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, keep on rolling solo.